Hello, everybody. My name is Diana, and I am the Maker Nerd. So, give us just a second to see if we can't figure out how to. All right, let's try this again. Hello, everybody. My name is Diana, and this is the Maker Nerd. Hopefully, this is going to work this time. I just finished a 30-minute live, and none of it worked because the mic was apparently on mute the whole time. So hopefully we've got sound this time. The problem with having really bad internet is that I can't check myself. I can't see if it's working the way that it should be. I'm gonna look really quick here to see if there's something on a minute ago, maybe. The mic was oh, there we go. The whole time. So hopefully we've got sound this time. The problem with having okay, I'm sorry. I was just listening to myself to make sure that, we're actually working. We are. So today we're going to play with something called TinkerCad. So 3D printer people out there who go to Thingiverse and other websites to grab your models, I do the same thing, but sometimes there's a model that you want to tweak just a little bit to make it exactly what you want it to be. And so today I'm going to do that in a really simplified form to show you that it can be done. So I'm going to take a model that I got from Thingiverse. It's a bookmark model, and I'm going to take it and modify it for something for my writing center that I direct at Longwood. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Let's see if we can get this figured out. There we go. That's Facebook. That's not really what we want. So let's go here. There we go. That's better. We want to focus on the TinkerCad window. Perfect. And in fact, yeah, so this is going to work fine. So this is TinkerCad. It's an absolutely free program for anybody to use, and actually I don't think I even get emails from them. I think you can opt out, and they are actually true to their word, and they don't send you a bunch of emails. So that's really good. It's used in schools a lot, like elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, so that students can begin to learn how to model themselves. So any of you that are 3D printers, or any of you that do 3D printing as a hobby, know that most 3D printers require a model with a file extension of .stl. There is a .obj, and TinkerCAD will handle that as well, but I myself do not have any printers that use that. So let me show you real quick kind of what we're looking at. Hold on just a second. We're going to come back to the camera just a minute. So I took this bookmark off of Thingiverse, and when I grabbed the bookmark, it was just a solid bookmark. And what I did was I took it, woohoo, and I dropped it, and I created that cutout in the actual bookmark itself. So the writing center, and then at, and then Longwood. And I'm going to use these for swag in my writing center to give out to students to remind them where they can get help with. So I did these. That is a solid filament. I've also made them out of this translucent filament, which has not worked as well, but the filament itself is a little stringy. That could be partially my printer's fault, because the solid filament is the same exact type filament, not very stringy, but it's just on a different printer. So, all right, let's get back to TinkerCAD and get this project started. So, here we go. So the first thing you want to do is you want to sign up for an account. And once you've done that, you want to create a new design. Now this is going to take some time because I do have a really slow internet connection. So let's give it a second. And you hear one of my printers going in the background. The other one just finished a while ago. I hope these prints are going to work. So what it comes up with first is basically your build platform. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click import. And I know that you're not going to see my window pop up for my printer, but at any rate, that's what I am doing, is grabbing the bookmark that I started with. Okay, so now you can see this. The height that it was designed at, and I'm going to go ahead and change the height here, but I will show you how you can change the height once you've uploaded it as well. But I'm going to go ahead and change the height to 1 because that 0.5 was really, really super thin. And when you 3D printed it, it just did not look that great. So let's click the import button. Give it a second. All right, so there it is in all of its glory. Whew, it's pretty big too, isn't it? Last time I imported it, it was not that large. I wonder if it changed. You know what? I am going to, that's an interesting thought. I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to say import again, choose the file. I want to see if it does something. It might. Ah, it did. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it at the 0.51 it was initially, and I'll show you why. Because as you can see, when I change it back to what it was initially, these numbers go back to the right original size. So let's just go ahead and import that, and I'll show you how to change it here. Because right offhand, I'm not quite, oh, pink this time, that's new. That's a new color for me. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this. I'm going to tilt it slightly, and then I'm going to click on it. Now, this with the cone over the top is your height thickness, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and you can see it's at 0.51. If I click it, then it'll stay here, and I can come over here and I can say make it 1. And it only changes the thickness. It does not change the overall dimensions of the bookmark. I'm not a huge pink fan, so if you all will bear with me, I'm just going to make it a color that I like a little better. Okay, great. So now we're going to get rid of that for a second. So over here on the right-hand side are all the basic shapes that you can use when creating models, when manipulating models. These are all the different shapes that you get. And trust me, you can do a lot with these basic models because you can group things together, you can resize and shape things, so it allows you to manipulate these models and really create anything that you want. But what we're going to do is we're going to grab the text. Okay, so then we're going to bring that over, and we're just going to plop the text up here somewhere. We're going to got to move some things around, not crazy about that color, so let's make it purple. Just because we can, right? Alright, so let's go ahead. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to get things in the screen the way you want them. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this. Here's the little turn. We're going to turn it. That's good. And then we're going to manipulate this and turn it this way. Now obviously at this point in time our text is way bigger than what can fit on our bookmark, right? So the way that you can size these things and still keep the overall, like you're not going to squish it or make it fatter or that kind of thing, is hold your shift key down Click on a corner and hold, and then manipulate it the way you want. So that's looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead back over here to our shape. This is where you actually enter your text in. So we're going to say the writing center and hit enter. So clearly that's still, excuse me, clearly that's still too big for our bookmark. So we're going to do that. We're going to hold down our shift key again, click and hold, and reduce size yet again. So let's bring that over. That's starting to look better. I think I want it just a little bit smaller. Okay. Let's bring that down and look. Looks like we've got enough border around the top and enough border around the edges. So I'm going to hold this off here for just a second because I want to show you, as we manipulate this around, that the bookmark and the writing itself are flat on the work surface. So when I move this text onto here, it would actually, with what I'm going to do in a minute, it would actually cut through the bookmark and produce the bookmarks that I showed you earlier. Although one way to ensure that it does that is to bring it a little under the surface, and then you're guaranteed that it'll cut the whole thing out. So, but that's not what we want, so we're going to leave it there for half a second. We know that our bookmark itself is 0.5 or 1.0 millimeters thickness, right? Which is what we want. We're going to turn this a little bit so we can see more of the word. But this time, I want the lettering to just dig out halfway, maybe a little more than halfway. I want a solid bottom on the bookmarks this time. So I'm going to click this button right here, right, and come on, come. There we go. So if I pull it up right here to 1, that's not what we want because that's the thickness. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say make it 0.3. So now it digs into the bookmark 0.7 millimeters, but it will leave us 0.3 millimeters of a solid bottom surface. We're going to see how this is going to work. So we're going to bring it over here. Now we're going to bring it down onto our bookmark. I'm basically lining it up with these. So one thing you can do is your snap grid is down here if you don't want to snap to grid, or you can turn it off, or I usually leave it on 0.1, and that allows me to move in much smaller increments, which is great. So now I think that looks pretty good. I think the R probably is overlaid about the same as that, and I think it top and bottom, other than the G, look fairly centered. So now I am going to grab our text again, because now I've got to get my @ symbol. I'm going to just drop it there for half a second. Select it. Where are my markings? Let's see. Alright, so let's zoom out a little bit there. Nope, wrong markings. Here they are. So this will turn it. This would flip it. So you got to make sure you're grabbing the right thing. Turn it all the way around. Now we're going to come back here, turn it upside down. Make sure it's not quite even yet. This is where having the larger can come in handy. Okay, I guess that looks pretty even. Come back over here. All we need here is the @ symbol. Hit enter. Clearly too large. I'm going to pull this away a little bit. Everything you drop on the surface drops directly onto the work surface here. So we'll always have to manipulate it and pull it up a little bit. Holding the shift key, click and drag. Zooming back in a little bit. Let me pull this. Oops. grab it and pull it. Nope. Undo. Command Z on a Mac or Control Z on a lap or a PC is what does that. So I just want to be able to grab it and pull it. Okay, I'm going to make it a little larger again. And this time I'm going to decrease the size this way so that it's closer to the surface. And I'm just going to use my arrow keys to bring it down. And because we're set on 0.1 millimeter, that's why it looks like it's taking forever. Let's go ahead and zoom back in now. The only bad thing about it is that you can't really grab and click. There we go. You can see that it still needs to go back in some. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Try and center that up. Okay, good. Now, might as well change the color to match everything else, right? And remember, we need to change our height. Okay, and we want it 0.3. So just by grabbing that and starting to drag it up brings up the box that you saw and allows me to manipulate it the way I want to. So now this box allows us to turn it the way that we need. We're going to go ahead and grab another text box, drop it here. Grab this and turn it. Good. Move this up here. Come here. Put in Longwood. Again, changing the color, it does not matter. I just, it's just something that you can do. If you're like going to print in a multicolor filament or something like that, I can see, why you might want to do it so you can see how it would look. But for us printing in a solid, it's not gonna affect anything. The thing here is that we have to watch the G. We have to make sure the G has enough clearance on the bottom while everything else has enough clearance on the top. Again, to manipulate this, hold your shift key down, click and hold a corner and drag it the way you want. It'll keep everything even. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And again, looking from this point in and from this point in, looks fairly even. Might can go just a hair that way. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Alright, but now, as with everything else, we have to pull it up a little bit. Once you click and start pulling, that box pops up, and you can make it even for everything. So now that we've got all three words, we have to now, because these are solid words, if we were to group all of this together and print this, it would actually print with the letters raised, and I might actually try some bookmarks like that. But that's not what I want this time. This time I want it to actually dig into that bookmark. So the way that we do that is we have to select, whoops, undo that because I just pulled the bookmark up. Okay, let's manipulate this a little bit. Okay, so let's select that, hold our command key down, select that, nope, shift key, sorry. Select that and select the at. Now we've got the letters all selected, and we can come over here and you can see that's currently solid. Now we want to make these a whole. And you're going, well, that doesn't look very good, but watch what we do. So I'm just going to click off here. Now I'm going to hold my command key down. If you're on a PC, it's your control key. I'm going to do a command or control A. That selects everything, and now I'm going to group it all together. Once I do that, it's going to take a second, but then you're going to see what it does. It may have already, maybe my internet has sped up a little bit. Let me look. Nope, right now we still currently have them sitting up, so let's give it a second. What you can see, though, is that the letters themselves no longer look solid. Ah, there we go. So now you can see that the letters no longer look solid, but yet if we bring it really close in and tilt it, see now you can see how it's digging in. It's going to leave that part open, right? But you can see that it's got a clear bottom or a solid bottom. So if I turn it upside down, see, we're not seeing the words cut through in any way, shape, or form. It's got a nice solid bottom. So that's what the bookmark's going to look like on the bottom. But when we flip it back over, we see that we're going to have the writing center at Longwood cut nicely, just like a wood carving, into this bookmark. So once we have that part done, all we have to do is export it. We're exporting it as an STL. We're doing the selected shape. We could do everything in the design, which is the selected shape, because we grouped everything together. Now let me show you really quick. If you think you don't like the look of it, or you want to change the depth, or there's just something about it you want to change, you can ungroup everything right here. And once you ungroup everything, it'll allow you to manipulate them the way that you want to. So, or you can use Command Z and just step backwards until you get to the place where you want to change something. Command Z undoes the last step. You can also use the tools here. I'm just more of a keyboard kind of person. But that's how you can take a model and manipulate it with words. You could manipulate it with any of those other shapes that are over here. On the right hand side, you've got your basic shapes, you've got text and numbers, characters, connectors. TinkerCad, for a completely free, no paid upgrade software that's all online, is, in my opinion, a phenomenal piece of software, and it really allows you to do a lot. So there's the bookmark. We're going to export it. We're going to export it again as an STL because that's what my printers need. I take the STL, I upload it into a slicer program such as Cura or Simplify 3D or whatever type of program came with your printer or that you've been using. You upload it to that to slice it to create your G code, and then you can send it to the printer. So we're going to do an STL. Sorry. There we go. It was taking it a second to pop up with the save window. So I'm just going to label this WC bookmark cutout or cut in because we didn't really cut out. And I've already done this once today, so we're going to label this version 2. And we're going to save that into a file that I have strictly for STLs. Now you can see it's given it a crazy name up here. Click this button, click the cog, and now you can change it to match whatever name you saved it as, or you can keep the crazy names. It really does not matter however you want to do that. I usually, okay, version 1, little b, okay. You can do a license. You can make it public so that other people can find it. I prefer to keep it private because this is strictly for my university. Save the changes on that, and then the next time I go in, I'll know exactly which one that I want to manipulate. Then I can X out of that. Okay, so that is basically how to manipulate a model using TinkerCad. I'm going to show you really quick. My printer bot is over here trying to print bookmarks. Printed a spool holder for it the other day. It's much better than the spool holder on the power supply that then drags your filament over top of the printer. And then one of those particular bookmarks was messing up, so I had to get rid of it because it was going to start making loud, obnoxious noises. And then here is the Ender 3 that just finished creating some bookmarks with that translucent filament. And that should be cool enough here in a second for me to be able to take those off. So that's kind of where I'm at, what I'm making, what I'm doing. Um, so yeah, if you're interested in TinkerCAD and modeling, you can let me know, and I can do more of these types of videos. But that's it for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. So I want to thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye bye.